Hey friend, welcome to the Inimitable Podcast. I'm your host, Jermai Harrison. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, mentor, visionary, transitional life coach, and of course, I am a neurospicy black sheep. Inimitable means something that is so unique, it is impossible to duplicate. This pod is for the neurospicy who are building mental wealth without a blueprint. Thank you for coming, and if you're here, it's because God needed you here. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll see you soon. And soon we are here. So welcome everybody. I'm going to give you time to come in because it's just me today. It's just little old me, but it's cool because I figured we would start the year off with a bang. So welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2025. I hope 2025 has been nice to you. It's been nice to me, and I hope it's been nice to you. So listen, it's just me today. So if you feel led, if you feel so, be in the comment section because it's just me talking to you guys and giving you a little bit of my testimony because I feel like I've been having people on and they've been sharing their testimonies and they've been amazing. I hope you guys have enjoyed the first 8 episodes. But then I figured, why not share a little bit of mine? Let's talk about what it means to be in this lovely world as an inimitable, as a black sheep, as a neurospicy individual, and then what that looked like. You know, like how do we accept it? How do we appreciate it? How do we live authentically? Because that part is what we often don't talk about, is the authenticity of being a neurospicy individual. Because we're out here and you know what? We are living as best we can in a world that often misunderstands us. You know, the first 8 episodes, there was a theme going on about how people have to like mask how they're really feeling sometimes because they're not easily accepted and all the things, right? So I don't know, y'all. We're just going to have a conversation and let's see how this goes. Because again, it's just me. So if y'all want to talk, y'all want to chit chat, y'all want to have conversation, let's be in this comment section and let's have a lovely discussion because here we are. We have reached episode 9. We have reached 2025. This is really exciting. I'm excited for whatever it is that 2025 has for us. I know there's some skepticism about what's happening in a few more days when, you know, the power transition in the White House. But you know what? We're here. We're going to be great. Life is great. We're going to have great things. Okay. So let's get it started. I guess I gave you guys, hey, mommy. Okay. So I'm going live today by myself. As you can see, there's nobody else here. It's just little old me. I figured I would start the year off talking about my experience being inimitable and why I chose to have an inimitable podcast. And, you know, the guests that I've had on the first 8 episodes have been amazing. Absolutely amazing. Those are my personal friends, my colleagues, best friend, mentees. You know, they were all here. But, you know, in their sharing, I figured I'd give y'all a little bit of my story of how hard it was for me to authentically be me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been a while. Hey, mama. Hey, best friend. It's been really hard. So I don't want to take y'all through 35 years of this because we don't have all day. But I will say to start off, like it was very difficult growing up because I'm very different. And I never knew why. I never understood it. I was just like, I mean, yeah, I just think differently. I operate differently. I was okay with being by myself for the most part. I didn't like being bothered. But, you know, I had a mama that was in a lot of social settings and always networking and all these other things. So I was kind of pushed out to be like, no, go say hi and go hang out. And it's like, why? I don't want to. I just want to stay where I'm at and be comfortable. And then I realized that, you know, God had positioned me to be a leader, and being a leader and an inimitable and an introvert, y'all, it's hard. It is very hard because like when you're trying to lead people, I'm scared of people. Believe it or not, people scare the mess out of me. I can do like one-on-ones. I can do really small groups of people. Do not put me in a huge room. Do not put me in a huge room with adults, with a lot of people, because I will shrink. And for a while, I thought it was because I wasn't comfortable with who I was. And so I didn't want to like step out into the world and just be like, hey, world, it's me. I think it really was, I'm socially awkward. Like sometimes I say the right things. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes, you know, I'm going in there real happy and chipper. I'm like, let's go. And then other days I'm just like, can I just go over there in that corner and hide out and just be okay? Why is that so difficult? I really do not like attention, because when attention is on you, that means you got to do something. And I'm not a trick pony. Like, I have energy, I have charisma, I have all the things, but y'all, it's hard. It's really hard. But anyway, so that's like a little bit of background. Authentic self. Again, if you're here and you're watching, be in the comment section, because it's just me. So I can just talk to myself or we can talk together. Being your authentic self, there's a power in that. And it took me 20 some odd years to figure that out. Because growing up, whatever you wanted me to be, I was that. You wanted me to be loud and ghetto and hood, I was loud and ghetto and hood. You wanted me to be a quiet little church mouse sitting over there and not bothering a soul, I would do that, because I didn't accept me. And so because I didn't accept me, I needed other people to accept me, until I realized if I'm switching up and being all these things to people, I'm not my authentic self, so then I'm still not being received. They're not liking me. They're liking the version of me that I'm giving. And again, in the other 8 episodes that preceded this, all of my guests said the same thing. It's like, I mean, I tried. I masked it. The version that you saw and the version that other people see is very different from the actual whole entity that is me, right? And so I'll never forget it. I turned 17, and this was my senior year, and I had to write those, like, this is me for your college applications. And I struggled filling those things out, y'all. Struggled. Like, there's questions of like, so tell me about yourself. And it's like, my name is Jermai. I'm an athlete, volleyball, track. I go to church. And that's all I got. And I'm like, I don't know how to turn this into like a whole page worth of stuff. Like, I don't know how to do it. And it was in that moment where I was just like, wow, I really don't know who I am, because I switched up so much, right? Because I figured in order for me to be accepted, in order for me to be loved, I had to be all these other things, but then didn't realize that meant I was my character and my person. It all fell. Like, my identity didn't exist. I was like, I don't know who I am. Take me out of school. Take me out of track. Take me out of volleyball. And what are you left with? I don't know. And that reality kind of hit me. And I kind of vowed from that day on, like, I'm going to take time to figure out who this person is. Because I have friends, I have people that come to me for advice and that love me for things. But then I'm like, I don't see what y'all see. So y'all gonna have to help me figure this thing out. So it's been a journey trying to figure out who my authentic self is. And once I figured out who she was, listen here, y'all, never going back. You see these colors and these nails and the jewelry and all these other things. This is me. I am loud and bold in how I express self, but on the inside, I'm just like this. I don't know. I'm just me. And I'm a little dorky, a little nerdy, a lot different. But I'm smart and I know how to do things, I guess. I don't know. See, again, socially awkward. You know what I'm saying? This is me. But being a black sheep, like, I felt like the black sheep everywhere I went. You put me with the athletes, I felt like I didn't fit in. You put me with the church kids, I didn't fit in. You put me with other Black kids, I don't know, I didn't fit in. And I'm just like, why can't I fit? Like, there's just so much that goes into learning how to be your authentic self and learning how to accept self. So the 3 A's of this episode are authenticity, acceptance, and appreciation. When you are learning who you are, you learn to appreciate all of the quirks, all of the differences, all of the things that make you you, right? So again, I love these nails. These ones are kind of long. I don't know. These are long, y'all. I usually don't do them this long. But then I was just like, well, why not? Because why not? You know, in certain positions that I have, in certain places that I go as a professional, they're like, is your hair professional? Let me tell you about my hair. Y'all see this right now? We're locked, okay? These locks have been 17 different colors. And I've only had locks for 3 years, coming up in a few weeks. But yeah, I've had all types of hairstyles, all types of colors. I don't think there's a color I haven't tried except for like maybe pink. But I've done a whole lot of stuff, and it's just like people are always asking like, Jermai, why? Just why? Why can't you just be okay with the color that God gave you? Or like whatever. And it's like, I'm okay with it. I just feel like it's basic, and I'm not a basic person, you know? And that's another part of this that I want to talk about is, I think I talked about it with my episode with Darren, and how you often have to over-explain self. Like, listen, I am who I am, how I became this way. Couldn't tell you what is in here that God put in me from the beginning. It's in there. Y'all want to talk about why and who Jermai is, talk to the manufacturer. That's God himself. Because it is what it is. I am who I am. And again, I say this with boldness now, but let this been like 7 years ago. I'm like, okay, why? What's wrong with me? And getting feedback was so hard. So hard, because I'm like, oh, here goes another person having yet another wrong thing about Jermai that they don't like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, this is crazy, Jermai. Like, you cannot take everything and be like, I'm the problem. I'm the broken thing. Let me change it, because I don't fall under society's standards at all. Like, at this age, being a Black female in America, I should have a baby daddy or two, some kids running around somewhere. You know, I should be bitter and angry or whatever it is because society says that's who I should be. That's not who I am. And I thank God that's not who I am. This isn't a brag. This isn't a boast. But this is really to say, like, when you put yourself in the hands of God and you identify as the clay and you identify him as potter, you just recognize, like, I'm here because God needed me here. I am who I am because that's who God ordained me to be. And I've come to the realization, and I want to encourage other people out there, where everything that you need, somebody else is going to love, right? It took me a while to find my tribe. My tribe is very small, maybe about a handful of people. When I say a handful, like literally, like a handful. These handful of people create authentic, safe spaces for me. As crazy as I am, as complex as I am, they remind me time and time again, like, Jermai, I don't know, but you're you, and I love that, and I rocks with it, you know? And it took a while for me to find that tribe, because it took a while for me to be like, actually, I am somebody, and who I am is not broken. Who I am is not completely off, if you will. I am who I am because God needed me to be this way. I worked in residential programs for like 10 years, was it? Give or take 10 years, right? And I'll never forget it. I had a kid who had said to me once, and they called me Harrison because ain't nobody calling me my first name if you under the age of 21. You find a different name. Give me a nickname or put a miss in front of my name. Do not call me my name, because no. Anywho. the kid was like, Harrison, you know what I like about you? You can reach the nerdy kids, the emo kids, the gangster kids, the ones who listen to rock music. You can reach all of them. And when they said that to me, it was just like, well, yeah, because had I been this basic, regular, degular person, I don't know if I would, be able to reach them. And again, that's a testament to say, like, even when it doesn't make sense to you, and even when society is like, what in the world is this? Even when you're like, what in the world is this? Again, go to God, because he created you. And there's some things that are necessary for who you are and who you're going to be. Some things were necessary for a season and we have to change them things. But yeah. Okay. We're getting some comments in the comment section. Hey, friend. What would I say to someone who is struggling to find their tribe while learning to accept themselves? Great question, Fran. Honestly, I think the best advice I can give is, in order to find your tribe, you have to find yourself first, right? You have to learn who you are. What are your passions? What are your quirks? What things get you geeked and excited? Because I love artsy stuff, and, I like to paint. I like to draw. I like to do all these things. And then when you find yourself in the stores and just doing these things, like, you start to attract certain people, right? And that's probably who a part of your tribe is, right? I think when you learn how to be unapologetically you, people will recognize that, and your people will find you. It's like the moment you know who you are, like a light switch goes off. I can't even snap my fingers with these nails. A light switch goes off, and it's as if like a magnet is like now drawn to you, because they're like, oh my God, I love it. Like some people in my tribe, Darren's in my tribe. Darren wears very similar colors. Like, he doesn't do all the colors and stuff like I do. My other female friends, they don't do all the colors and stuff. I was just with one of my good friends at the church, and she's like, black is my color, black and white. That's it, right? So they don't always have to mirror who you are, but they see you and they appreciate you for who you are, and they're just like, wow, she's cool. I'm not cool. I don't think so. Ain't nothing about me cool. I'm just who I am. And honestly, learning to accept yourself, I feel like there's an art to that. I think it starts off with really sitting down with yourself and being like, outside of performance, like, it's not outside of what I do, who am I, right? We mix that up because we forget that we are human beings and not human doers. We are human beings. That means the essence of who I am. That's what brings me value. That's what puts value on me versus something else, right? It's not just what I do, right? Robots are learning how to do what we do, right? So it's not just because I give, and it's not just because I can mentor or counsel people. There's a lot of mentors out there. There's a lot of counselors out there, right? But when in business, I learned that there's something called like a business differential. And that basically is what sets you apart from all the other counselors, what sets you apart from all the Black female, Christian, faith-based counselors, what sets you apart from all of them other things. That's what people buy into first, right? So I had to literally sit down with myself and be like, well, I think what makes me different is I meet people where they are. I never try to be like, I'm up here and this is where your potential is and I need you up here, right? It's like, if you're in the mud, in the murkiness, I'm coming to find you and I'm going to join you. I don't care how bad it smells. I don't care how murky it is. I'm coming in there with you because I need to know and I need to understand the world from your perspective, right? And not everybody is willing to do that. Some people don't want to get dirty. I'm okay with getting dirty. It is what it is. We can clean up later, right? And I think that's another way how you find your tribe is really finding people who you're willing to connect yourself to, and who you connect yourself to is very important because we are guilty by association. And then, they say birds of a feather, they flock together. But more than that, sometimes we are as healthy as the circle that we find ourselves in. or we are as unhealthy as the circle we find ourselves in. Some people, like, I love this story of the chicken and the eagle. I've seen it on YouTube from Prince EA or A. I don't know how he says his name. Anyway, basically, the story goes like this, right? There was an egg that a farmer found, and it was laying there, and he raised it and brought it into his farm. And when it hatched, this bird, which is an eagle, found itself in the midst of chickens. So it grew up understanding the perspective of only a chicken. One day, that eagle looked up in the sky and saw another eagle soaring and just being beautiful and majestic. And he's like, whoa, birds can do that? That's pretty cool. Like, what kind of bird is that? And then the chicken's like, oh, that's an eagle. But we'll never be able to do that because we can't. We'll never be able to do that, right? And hey, Aunt Joyce, how you doing? And the chicken convinced the eagle, like, you can never be that, despite the fact that this eagle was an eagle from jump. But because it was raised as a chicken, it understood as a chicken, and it stayed as a chicken. Sometimes we find ourselves being chickens when we're really an eagle. We are an eagle amongst chickens, meaning who we are supersedes the places that we find ourselves in. We decrease self quite often to fit in, to not ruffle any feathers, to make people feel comfortable for whatever reason. And it's like, hold on. Have we considered the fact that, again, God is very intentional, very intentional. He doesn't place us on this earth to just be basic and do basic things, right? And I'm not saying basic, like, God can use someone who's a janitor. He can use someone who's a manager at McDonald's. He can use someone that's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. It doesn't matter what level you're on. But if you're not living to your full potential and to your authentic self, that's where we miss up. The enemy doesn't want you to be authentically you. Because if you're not authentically you, you're not authentically doing what you have been created to do. You're just merely like existing. He's not really my uncle, but I call him my uncle. There's a deacon at my church and I call him uncle. And he talks about the jellyfish, right? And jellyfishes, they just move like this, but they have no heart. So the moment they wash up on shore, they're dead, like instantly. The only thing keeping them alive are the currents and the water. That's it, right? And I'm just like, ooh, that's crazy. That means a jellyfish. And he said, the jellyfish is merely existing. The jellyfish is not living. It has no purpose. It has no heart. It has no heartbeat. So therefore, it is merely existing. And he said, I refuse to be like the jellyfish where I'm merely existing. Come through, best friend, coming through with the questions. Listen, if y'all are here and y'all have questions about authenticity, acceptance of self, and appreciating self, let's talk. Because again, it's just me for another like 40 minutes. All right. Hold on, let me take a sip. This is just sparkling water, y'all. Don't get it twisted. It's a ghetto red cup, but all my cups need to be washed, though. Do you think parents, whether present or absent, play a role or have a responsibility in helping? Yes, absolutely. Let me tell you about my mama. My mom, she's special. We love my mama. Hey, mama. My mom has definitely helped to shape my understanding of the world, right? And she never forced me to be anything other than me. I think she's learned to accept. First of all, Darren, it is not wine. It is literally sparkling water. Okay, I'm fasting. I ain't got time to be drinking alcohol. Hush. Anywho, back to your question. I think, first of all, there's genetics, right? So genetics are passed down from generation to generation. There's just certain things about me that I get from my mom and dad, right? Like basketball, I never really wanted to play it. Love watching it. I think it's one of the greatest sports ever. Matter of fact, after this, I might be watching the Celtics game. But I only played because both of my parents played. And I feel like I'm only as athletically inclined as I am because both of my parents are athletes. My mother did basketball and track. My father did basketball. I'm freaking 9'9". You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to play basketball. It's kind of in there, right? Didn't really care for it. Wasn't my favorite sport. I played volleyball, and then I did track. And, you know, so like there's just certain things that I am who I am partially because of genetics that was passed down to me, and personality wise. Like, I have a whole lot of pieces of my mama in my personality and a whole lot of pieces of my father in the personality. And was I raised around my father? No. But as I learn more about him, I'm recognizing like, oh, well, that's where it came from. I'm over here trying to figure it out. Like, what is this thing in me that I have? I don't even know why it's there. And it turns out like this is a part of my personality because of who my father was, right? And that's not to say that I can't change it. It just gives an answer to this is who I am, because genetically, these are the families that I've grown up with and stuff like that. So they definitely help you to learn. And parents are tough. I know it's hard being a parent. I'm not a parent. I'm a godmother and an auntie for days. Okay. And, you know, sometimes it's really hard to help shape your child if you're not as present in the home. If like you can be physically there, but sometimes parents are mentally, emotionally, spiritually somewhere else, right? And that impacts how a child understands themselves, right? There was this whole argument in psychology, nature versus nurture, right? So basically, what is the most determining factor of how I will go about in this world? Is it based on how my mother raises me and the things that she instills in me? Or is it society and all of those pressures and all of those influences? Which one does it? Turns out it's a little mixture of both, right? My mom laid an amazing foundation. My mom made sure I was raised by a tribe, y'all. It took my mama, both of my godmothers, my god siblings, my aunties, my uncles, neighbor down the street, church folks. It took everybody to help raise me. So everything you see right here is a product of a village. But there's a lot of foundational parts that my mother put in my life. Now, some of them I'm just like, ma'am, this don't make no sense. But if you say it needs to be here, fine. You know, we were raised in that generation where we don't ask questions. When my mama said, because I said so, I was like, all right, cool. But now I'm very inquisitive. I got to know. Don't tell me because I said so. That don't rock with me. I don't know what that means. So yes, sorry. Long-winded answer, Darren. Hope I answered your question. Hey, Mom. Yeah. That's true. I think first of all, again, stepping into your faith walk with God is huge. Because again, he is a creator, the manufacturer of our lives, okay? The author and finisher of our faith, if you want to talk biblical, right? Basically saying he's him, okay? And because he's him, I can't fully understand me or my purpose or my personality if I don't talk to the person who made me. You know what I'm saying? Just like my mom and my dad, like I have to know pieces of them because I'm just like, why am I like this? And having conversations with my mom and having conversations with my dad, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Now that's in my physical nature self, but there's more to me than just my physical appearance and my physicalities, right? So now I have to understand, like, what did God place in me that allows me to do the things that I do and be the person that I am? And it was my walk with God. Excuse me. It was my walk with God. And it was being able to find a position where it's like, oh, okay, so you were preparing me to be a leader. You were preparing me to work with young people. You were preparing me to help guide people through their healing journey. I see it now. But again, I would have never discovered most of this if it had not been for, you know, my mentees and my family and my friends and stuff like that. But then also, most importantly, having a relationship with God, because that was another integral part of who I was. Hey, girl, Happy New Year's. I don't know if y'all heard me say it because y'all came in late. Y'all know I started at 7 o'clock. But Happy New Year's. Welcome to 2025. I hope you're enjoying it so far because, excuse me, we have reached a new year. I mean, my new year starts August 4th because that's my birthday. But I understand January 1st is technically the new calendar year, so I get it. Yes, Happy New Year, Aunt Joyce. I hope you guys were safe. Speaking of New Year, I have a question for y'all, and y'all throw it in the comment section or don't. I'll just keep talking. Anyway, like when it comes to these New Years, I hope you're not still making resolutions because, like, why? Like, most of the time, those resolutions don't last past February. So instead, what I like to say to my clients and what I like to do for myself is I like to set intentions for 2025 or years to come. So when you think about your life and what you are intending to do this year, now these are different from resolutions because my intentions can change depending on the situation. But anyway, yes, ma'am, Aunt Choice. You better live your best and blessed life, ma'am. That's all you gotta do. Cause listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But anyway, are there intentions that you have for this year? Meaning, like, so for me, I have every intention to take this here business and we go in places because I've been stagnant. And I said this on my 35th birthday because, again, my birthday is my New Year's. I prayed. I was in Hawaii. Thank you, Mama. Shout out to you, Charnette. I was in Hawaii for my birthday. And when I say that was like the greatest experience ever for many reasons, because I was in paradise, of course, but I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do. I didn't have to cater to anybody. I didn't have to counsel a soul. I didn't have to solve a problem. I was just merely existing by a beach. The beach is my favorite place. Like, I looked out my window and it was like, ooh, beach. Great times. Anyway, on my 35th birthday, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot be stagnant anymore. Like, I'm done being fearful and I'm done with letting fear control me, manage me and my emotions. I refuse to do it. And so with that being said, I have now been very intentional about movement and very intentional about if God says pause, I'm a pause. However, we moving. Hey, TT girl, how you doing? Yes, ma'am. Focus more on you. We talked about that at, the party. Excuse me, y'all. Yeah. I second that, sis. We were doing this a few episodes ago. Honestly, because letting people take advantage of you. Again, when you don't learn who you are, you don't understand your value. And when you don't understand your value, you settle for a lot of things that you ain't got no. The things that I've settled for before I was aware of who I am and the value that I have doesn't make any sense, right? But we do that. Something. Hey, bestie, how you doing? Some of the things that I've learned about myself is I need to know who I am, because let me tell y'all, when you go to a jewelry store, case, I like jewelry, right? You don't see diamonds on the same shelves as the rubies and the other things. Pearls are good. A little on the expensive side, depending on the pearl. Now, these diamonds, there's a reason why them diamonds are locked up, sealed up. You got to get a key and some to have access to those diamonds, because those things are the most valuable mineral out there, right? For all the things that it's been through, that's what brings its value, which is a shameless plug. If you've been through some things and life has been putting pressure on you, you're a diamond, babes. You're a diamond, okay? Because valuable things go through some hard stuff, okay? I just want to say that. Back to my story. I also, so my best friend, shout out to Darren. has exposed me to more like extravagant places of fine dine establishments. Because listen here, I'm not basic, but it don't take much to make Jermai happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying take me to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A. Like, we gotta do a little bit better. But if it weren't for Darren, I wouldn't have been exposed to half of the fine dining moments that I've had. And, you know, when you have that good food, you just can't go into that fine dining establishment wearing some Crocs and some sweatpants and your hair tied up. No, you got to look a certain way. Why? Because when you walk through those doors, there is an expectation and a standard that has been set, right? McDonald's, you wear what you need to wear. You can be in your whole robe and whatever else to make sure that you're covered. And they're like, all right, whatever. Here, take your fries, take your burger. Here's your milkshake, right? But when you go in these establishments, there's a standard. They're like, if you coming in here, absolutely not, you know? And I think we need to have that. I know we need to have those same standards for ourselves. Don't just let anybody walk into your life and be like, hey, I'm here. Congratulations. Why are you here? Not be skeptical, but be careful. Understand how precious you are as a person so that when all these people try to come, my best friend is doing a lot. Listen here, sir. I'm going to be nice to you because you're sick right now. But don't come for me. Anyway. See, I don't even know what I was saying. Anyway, yeah. Be mindful of your value so that you just don't let anybody walk into your life. And let me tell you something. My mom told me from when I was a wee little tot, Jermai, be careful who you connect yourself to. Because one of my toxic traits is I put all my eggs in one basket. So if you my friend, you my friend forever. Like, I don't care what you feel about that. You stuck with me. And that has burned me a few times. And I had to learn how to be okay with the seasonal friends and the friends that are here for a reason. Or maybe they're just not friends. Maybe they're just lovely little angels that do a little drive-by and then keep it going. And get your friend. He doing too much. But I've had to learn how to accept people for who they are in the position that they serve, right? I can't always be the person to give people those positions. Sometimes God is like, Jermai, you making best friends out of people that was only intended to be here for a season. You know, and I had to learn that. Jackie Hill Perry said something that was so profound, and I've said it on my other pod. Shameless plug, Let This Mind podcast. Go check it out. I know you guys see it on my page. We're also on YouTube. Check it out. Let This Mind podcast. Anyway, on that podcast, I said that there is something that Jackie Hill Perry said about the boundaries and what kind of people have access to you. There's the ministry people, there's meal people, and then there's misery people. Jesus had meals with everybody, right? If you were a saint, a sinner, a harlot, as they say, whatever and whoever you were, saved and unsaved, we'll just say that. Saved and unsaved, Jesus had meals with everybody. Then he did ministry with 12. He trusted his entire ministry with just 12. It started with 12. Then there's the misery people. We only hear about the 3 disciples, John, James, and Peter. Those 3 had access to Jesus when he was in his most miserable states, right? Now, there's a testament. Jesus is the example, right? So you can have people around you, like you can associate and do the things, right? But then there's only a certain amount of people who you can really rock with, who you can really trust with your purpose, with your dreams and your visions. But then there's a smaller group of people. These are the people, and I have my, if we were to say 3, I have my 3. And unfortunately, sometimes Darren, he'd be teeter-tottering between 1 and 3. No kidding. He's good. And these are the people where they will see me at my ugliest. They will see me at my worst. They will see me in situations, and they have heard stories of me that I'm even ashamed to say. And I'm just like, I can't trust everybody with that. Because by golly, Jim, let it be the wrong time and the wrong season, especially because people get real crazy with these little Twitter fingers. They be putting your business out there. You know what I'm saying? Or just running their mouth in the streets. Like, who knows? But this is why, again, we have meal people, we have ministry people, and we have misery people. So y'all in the comment sections, come through, y'all. Yes, ma'am. Seasons, blessings, and lessons. I heard that from Medea. And I was like, okay, Medea, I can't snap with these on. I'm a Christian, so I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, we all do, sis. Honestly, I was literally talking about this the other day with some of my mentees, that we definitely learn to forgive, but not forget. Because if we forget, we keep letting the same things happen, right? We forgive with boundaries, y'all. Forgive with boundaries, okay? Meaning, I forgive you and it is what it is, but don't think you have the same access that you did before. Because you don't, right? You really don't. Oh, sorry, Mima. Hey, Mima. How you doing? I hope you're feeling better, sis. Yes, they are. Yes, they do. Who said that? Maya Angelou. When people show you who they are, believe them. I can't get as deep as she does, but yes, believe these people. Oh, yes. See, this is why we vibe, because I go off of trees examples all the time. Matter of fact, I was in my session with my 17-year-old the other, was it Monday, and I did a nice little tree example, and I did the same thing. I said, we got some roots, or if you're from the South, some roots. We got some roots, right? Those are the things that feed us. Those are the things that are giving us the stability to be able to do the things that we do. And then we have the trunk. That's your core. That's what you're passionate about. That's what makes you you, right? The branches are your behaviors and the things that you do. And then the leaves are the things that people benefit from, and the rewards and consequences and benefits of our behaviors, right? So, yeah. But anyway, we talked about authentic self, and we talked about acceptance. Now let's talk about appreciation. This word I got from one of my clients, and she would say it all the time. She's like, I learned to appreciate my pain. I've learned to appreciate my growth. I've learned to appreciate. And I'm like, girl, why do you keep saying appreciate? But so I'm thinking about it in between my sessions with her. And I'm just like, yeah, when you appreciate something, it serves a purpose and it has value to you, right? When you learn to appreciate all of you, the quirks, the good, the bad, the ugly, as Beyonce said, the flaws and all, you learn to appreciate all of those things about you. I used to hate the fact that I was this weird, quirky person. I've learned to appreciate it. I've learned to accept it. I lean heavily into my quirkiness. Hence why my Instagram name is The Quirky Beauty, because my quirkiness is beautiful. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I've learned to, I have a thing about myself where, do I love my body the way that it looks in its entirety? No. But I'll brag about my legs, though. Them legs, track and volleyball got them things on point. So I've learned to appreciate, the curviness and all the things, or even the flabs, y'all. Them stretch marks, whatever, they're there. My crooked tooth thing, it's there. You learn to appreciate all the things. I am 5'10". I try to knock off half an inch all the time. So if you ask me, I'm 5'9.5". And I'm 200 pounds. And I've learned to be like, okay, I can't change the height. And I tell my mama all the time, like, ma'am, you didn't have to go so tall with my father. Like, you didn't. Like, 5'11" is still taller than you, ma'am. And we could have stopped there. But for whatever reason, she needed a 6-footer. And so because my father is 6'3", 4, something like that. And my mom is 5'8". I had to fall somewhere in between. And I learned to accept it. My size foot is a 10.5. And I'm like, well, sis, we just big. We are big in every sense. I've learned to accept it. I have a big personality. I have big presence. I take up a lot of room when I enter into a room. I take up a lot of space, not just physically, but I guess I have this aura or presence about me that precedes me when I walk into a room. And I just can't tiptoe into a room for whatever reason without being noticed. And it's kind of annoying. And again, that's not a brag because I didn't want it. I'm like, let me just tiptoe in. But anyway, but again, if you learn to appreciate all these things about you, you stop making excuses for who you are. If you're quirky and weird, be quirky and weird. If you laugh with a certain laugh, like The Nanny, I love that show. That her laugh got her booked. You hear me? All these quirky things, like Ariana Grande has a really high-pitched voice, but Shorty's booked and busy. Danny, what's his name? The short dude, Danny, he does the Jersey Mike's commercials, Danny DeVito or something like that. He is a whole little person out here in these streets, but he is booked and busy. You learn how to lean into these things and you learn how to appreciate it because that is a part of your purpose. That is a part of why you are the way that you are. Do I like being this tall? No. Do I appreciate and accept it? Yes. Can I change it? No. Not unless, I get old and my bones start to... But other than that, I can't change it. So it is what it is. Like, just learn to love who you are. Learn to appreciate all the things that you are, and it'll get you somewhere. Okay? So, authentically you means I'm unapologetically me. And can we talk about code switching? I'm going to get real transparent right here. I had a job from March 2024 to August 2024. In this job, I was one of maybe 4 brown faces in this job, which is different because you grow up in Brockton and you are one of many brown faces. If you see a Caucasian face in your establishment, okay, that's different. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, girl, how you doing? Right. But over here, I was one of few brown faces. I don't think it was 4 because after one point, it was probably 2.5 of us. And I felt very uncomfortable after a certain moment because I'm just like, oh, they moving kind of different and I don't like it. And I thought they were to my face so appreciative, like, oh my God, Jermai, you brought so much value and your trainings are great and the kids love you and you have just so much great ideas, blah, 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 right? Now, after a while, my difference in who I am as authentic self, it started to become bothersome to a point where I was accused of having a young person who is a Latina and her interaction with me made everybody else uncomfortable because for the first time in her life in a while, she felt like I don't have to switch. There's finally someone that I can just talk to and say the things that us Black folks say and it be comfortable. And because of that, and amongst other things, there started to be contention in the program. And, I remember talking to my mom about it. I had to cry for a moment after I had a meeting. I cried. It was very uncomfortable. And my mom was like, Jermai, sometimes you got to play it their game, their way. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't be as bold in certain places because you won't be received well. That also happened. That also was the feedback I got from my friend. That's also the feedback I got from my mentor. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the timing of it, but that didn't sit right with me. I was like, hold on. Naturally, who I am is uncomfortable. I am a big Black female in America. I make a lot of people uncomfortable. So I'm just like, well, I've worked so hard not to constantly switch depending on where I was that I'm like, this code switching thing, like, I don't like it. Now I get it in professional settings. Sometimes it's necessary. I can't be doing actually, I do all of this. I walked into programs like this. I walked into counseling sessions like this. And I know this, like, me doing it is very different from other people. Like, if you work in corporate America, I'm sure this wouldn't work. So I get it. Totally get it. But code switching is, I seen this article about how code switching is another trauma that most people of color have to go through. And it's traumatic because, again, we are consistently told we are the standard, because when it comes to beauty, we're the standard. When it comes to shape, we're the standard. When it comes to performance, we're the standard. However, we are not allowed to be a standard. And, it still makes people feel uncomfortable. So I get it. Code switching may be necessary sometimes, but I mean, just because you talk nice doesn't mean you're code switching. That just means you have a language, right? You say what you got to say to be understood and to get things moving how you need to move. But yeah, that situation was just really uncomfortable for me because it forced me to really sit down and think to myself, like, wow, I've never had to deal with racism in that kind of way, even though let them tell it wasn't racism. It was just, I wasn't a good fit and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, sorry. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I get it. Being a lawyer and being in the legal field, totally get it. My mom said, not Corky, Mom, Quirky, Quirky. But thank you, Mom. Very observant. And that observant behavior I got from my dad, because my dad does the same thing. My dad will sit in the room just quiet as can be, just watching the whole room. And I'm like, Dad, you good? He's like, yeah, just, just watching. It's like, okay. But yes, Mom, thank you. Love you. Yeah, for sure. Karen's be carrying in out here. Anyway, so yeah, I said all that to say, learn to accept and appreciate yourself. In situations where you feel like you don't have a safe space, I'll be your safe space until you can find one. Because listen here, I am the last person to judge a soul, because the stuff that I be doing or have done, knowing what I know and who I am, I understand. Life be lifing out here, and this is another reason why the Inimitable Podcast has been birthed, is because I interact with a lot of people who just feel like they're the black sheep, who feel often misunderstood. And it's like, there is a safe space for us, and we are necessary, and we are a major part of this world, right? Like, I don't know much about autism and that whole part. But what I do know is that those who fall on the spectrum are very misunderstood, but they are whole geniuses out here. Because they like hyperfixate on one thing, like their brains work differently, like the musical geniuses and the artistic ones, like they are geniuses. Are they misunderstood? Quite often, quite literally, all the time. Yesterday I was watching those. I don't think Keanu Reeves is on the spectrum. I'm not saying he's on the spectrum, but I know he's different. He has something. And I was watching the John Wick series. I'm going to watch John Wick 3 later tonight. Anyway, and Keanu Reeves is very different. But when I say this man is making mega millions over the John Wick series and the Matrix stuff, again, there's a bag for you, y'all, if you learn to authentically be you. Because again, you attract the right stuff when you're the right version of yourself. When you keep switching, you're going to keep missing it up. And the wrong people are going to keep coming. And you can sniff it out a lot easier. I've been able, this nose of mine, I can only breathe out of one nostril, but this nose of mine has been sniffing out some different people since I've learned to be authentically me, and I'm like, oh, you only here because I bring a benefit to you. So like, here we go. Either I oblige, and I'm like, here, take my services and check up the deuces, or I'm just like, because you only want one thing, and I'm not giving it. I'm not compromising. We don't compromise. Again, when we understand our value, we just exist in our best self. Yeah. 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 They want the appeal. They want to have the appearance, but not have the struggles that comes with being a person of color in the world. But anyway, well, guys, I appreciate you guys for coming in. Thank you for being in the comment section. I hope you guys are, again, enjoying this Inimitable Podcast. This is episode 9. Next week will be episode 10. Now, there's 2 people that I don't know which one's going to come first. It's either going to be, I call her my spirit animal. She's not an animal at all. But Jasmine, I worked with her in a residential setting. And when I say we're like kindred spirits, like we're like this. She is so cool. So it's either going to be her or my other cousin, Tiara, who is very much in the comment section last week with her sister, Consuela. So it's either going to be Tiara or it's going to be Jasmine. We're still working out time because Tiara's in Atlanta and Jasmine does dance classes. So we're still trying to figure it out. Nonetheless, I will be back. We will be back next Thursday. I almost said Tuesday. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Y'all be on time. Put those notifications and those alerts together because I start on time. Okay. So I don't want to have to drag out my intro and do all the things. I mean, I will because it's my pod, but be on time, y'all. The same way y'all on time for work. Be on time. Anyway, thank you guys. I hope you guys appreciated all of my sayings and things and whatever. Thanks again for supporting. Again, I will see you next week, 7 p.m. Same time, same channel, same place. But again, do not click off because there is an outro video that's going to come behind me. And it's going to give you some lovely information because, again, 2025, Jermai is outside. Okay, Jermai is working. I am not going to be a office type person anymore. I'm coming to you. Y'all got the money. I'm going to come to you. I can drive to you. I will fly to you. Again, if you're giving me the money. But anyway, I work with young people, ages 13 and up. I work with young adults. And, I'm working on women empowerment stuff and other things. So stay tuned. I'm working. Y'all will see flyers coming up. I can shamelessly plug because it's just me now. There's going to be flyers coming out very soon. There's going to be information coming out soon. I do accept donations. And my banner wasn't, thank you, Darren. My banner wasn't going. But yes, I do. Donations, because what I do is out of pocket for now. Until, the good Lord provides the funds and the grants and they come in. Oh, speaking of, if you know anyone that does grants and all those things, let me know. Because Jermai needs some grants to be able to be great and do the things. Investors, all the things. I have my content together. I have my spiel together. So, help us sister out because I definitely am ready to work. I'm ready to be the traveling evangelist and therapeutic auntie. Okay. Counselor, mentor, speaker. Let me know. And yes, TT, we will connect. Matter of fact, get my info from Darren because I'm here. Yes. Okay, Key. Let me, again, y'all, we're up to some great things. God is up to some great things. That is my business Cash App. Thank you, Darren, for putting that in the comment section. So I'm going to leave that up there as I do my outro. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for being in the comment section. I appreciate each and every one of y'all more than you know. I cannot do what I'm doing if I didn't have the support and love from my people, the prayers and the donations and all the things. Okay. But of course, if it weren't for the good Lord who was on my side, where would I be? I don't know. Because I wasn't trying to have a business. Not this early. Because what do I know about business? Not much. But what I do know is if it's God's will, it's his bill, and he's going to equip you for it. So y'all do what you got to do. Anyway, with that being said, again, love you guys, and I will see you. Bye. Oh, wait. Hey guys, Jermai here. Thank you for watching this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Listen, I am looking to transition everything to my YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/@AFCCS77. Go there, go subscribe, and let your people know, because a lot of my content is already on there. I have a series called Black Man Heal series. That was great. I Am series is on there. Join the Fight series is on there. And now this Inimitable Podcast is on there. So all of the content that I've been putting together for the past, year and a half, it's all on there. So please go check it out. Also, after this, there's going to be a flyer that's talking about Jermai's ready to go to work. Okay. Mentoring young people and young adults between the ages of 14 and 26. I'm really trying to do that more. So if you know any programs and churches that have some young people that need mentorship and need group counseling, let me know. We can talk, we can contract, we can partner, and maybe doing more podcast episodes. I'm just ready to get in there. So again, go to YouTube. I will see you later. Check out this flyer. All right, bye.